Bang! The Super Bowl set. Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, Cincinnati Bengals, Los Angeles Rams. Tortured fan base, LA, which nobody feels bad for. I don't blame you. You know who I do feel bad for? I feel bad for the guy who spent 12 years playing in Detroit. Not because it's Detroit. I'm from Detroit. Go Red Wings. Detroit's incredible. I feel bad for the guy who played 12 years in Detroit because it's the biggest joke of a franchise in sports. Yay! And I've had the pleasure of being able to root for them for the past 24 years of my life. On the other hand, I love Joe Burrow. How couldn't you love a guy? First off, the drip he showed up to in KC. We'll throw a picture up. He's rocking some kind of crazy fucking jacket. Makes Kanye West and his Yeezys look conservative. He's rocking glasses, which if I was a sunglass critiquer, if I was a city sunglass critiquer, I'd say, Joe Burrow, just throw on the buffs, buddy. You can be from Detroit. Detroit would love to embrace you. The glasses he's rocking, a little bit buff-like. I don't blame him, though. He's rocking a diamond that would sink the Titanic. His nickname's Joe Shiesty. I don't know what Shiesty means, but I like it. I wish people called me Nick Shiesty. I don't want to root against Joe Burrow. I don't blame anybody who's rooting for Joe Burrow. I understand. I can see it. He's badass. And we haven't even begun to talk about the way he plays football. Guy's incredible. Gets out of pressure, makes throws. He's hooking up, not in, with the guy he played college ball with. Burrow to chase down the sidelines. It's just like LSU. He's sick. He does. Get the get. I don't even know what the gat is. How lame do I... Get the get. I don't look like Joe Burrow, and that's why Joe Burrow's the man. Because when Joe Burrow, get the get, everyone's like, holy shit, this guy's the man. Can I kiss his toes? I hope he didn't wash them. I understand why people root for Joe Burrow. I understand why people are rooting for the Bengals. Cincinnati, much like Detroit, been a long time. Haven't had a lot of great things happen to Cincinnati. You had Pete Rose. Turns out he was betting on games the entire time. You got Skyline Chili. Turns out it's actually just garbage. Not a lot of great stuff happens to Cincinnati. Even less great stuff happens to the Cincinnati Bengals. Long-suffering fan bases getting their moment in the sun. You got to love it. You got to love it. And if you're not from Los Angeles, if you're not a Matthew Stafford lover like myself, I'll say it. I'm a Matthew Stafford lover. I don't give a fuck. If you're not one of those two things, I could understand how you say, Rams, Los Angeles, not for me. Give me the long, tortured fan base. Give me Joe Shiesty. Give me Joe Give me the Bayou Bengals now with the Cincinnati Bengals. I hear you. Let me make the case for Matthew Stafford. 12 years, Detroit. Never helped once. Get this, dude. Get this for a sec. As great as he was all 12 of those years, there are human beings. There are people with brains, not vegetables, not babies, not infants. People with brains, not war victims that had to have lobotomies. There are people with functioning brains, firing neurons, that actually say the 12 years he was in Detroit, the Lions never won a playoff game. His record against 500 teams isn't good. There are people, Detroit Lion fans, that say Matthew Stafford was the problem. Do you believe that? Do you fucking believe that, dude? That's like when it gets cold in Michigan. That's a terrible fucking comparison. We're going to have to cut that. Football's the ultimate team game. Matthew Stafford, you look at the stats, youngest guy, 31-year-old, the touchdowns, completions, pass yards. The dude's a freak. The dude puts up numbers. You watch the guy play one game. Forget the stats. Forget the win-loss. Forget the records. Watch the guy play one game. You'd think his shoulder was made out of fucking jump rope, the way that thing slings out of there. And people in Detroit had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to say he was the problem. The Detroit Lions haven't won a playoff game. He isn't good enough because he's had 12 years and couldn't get it done. Let's rewind for a second here. The guy who's busting his ass against the same Cincinnati team many years ago is shoving athletic trainers off him saying, get the fuck off me. I can throw the ball if you need to throw the ball. That same guy who goes in there, who plays hurt last year against Tennessee, he knows he's going to request a trade. Season's over. Patricia's fat. He fucking stinks. Dan Quinn's even worse. He knows the season's over. No playoffs. Injured against Tennessee, goes in there, throws a tutty. After the game, Matthew, why'd you play today? You're not making the playoffs. The season's over. You're hurt. Why'd you decide to play today? Well, because I'm the quarterback of the Detroit Lions and it's Sunday. There are human beings with functioning brains, non-lobotomy brains, that look at that guy and say he was the problem. In Detroit, he was the problem. He can't win the big game. He can't win a playoff game. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. Okay. Well, guess what? Now he's won 3 playoff games. He's nearly retired Tom Brady. He's single-handedly, not really, but for the case of the argument, single-handedly brought the Rams to the Super Bowl. Not really. He didn't. The defense is great. But for the sake of the argument, Cooper Kupp's great. Sake of the argument, they're all great. Sake of the argument. Now he's in the Super Bowl. So what do we say? Matthew Stafford, he did what you said he couldn't. He's won playoff games. He's won the big games. He beat Tom Brady. He beat the greatest ever. He went in a showdown, had a fourth quarter, 43-second comeback against the greatest quarterback that's ever played football. And guess what? Now he's in the Super Bowl. So it turns out all along he is capable of going to the Super Bowl. But wait, there's more. And I'm not talking Billy Mays trying to sell you a rubber squeegee to wipe down your car windows. There's more. Now people are saying, oh, he's going to the Super Bowl? Big fucking deal. Big fucking deal. Guess who else went to a Super Bowl? Jared Goff. Oh, Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl. Yeah, he did. And that's funny that you say that because the 12 years that Matthew Stafford was in Detroit, the people with brains, the thinking, the critical thinkers, there's that statue in Detroit, this version of the human race that lived in Detroit the last 12 years. People like us, we said, I know he hasn't won the big game. I know he hasn't won a playoff game. That sucks. I know he hasn't been to a Super Bowl. That sucks. I get it. But guess what? Just because you haven't been to a Super Bowl, and maybe the ultimate team game, doesn't mean you're not good at quarterback. One thing doesn't equal the other. You don't need to go to the Super Bowl to be a good quarterback, just like there are quarterbacks that have been to the Super Bowl that aren't even good. It's a reverse flow state. So how exactly are you going to tell me now, when all along the knock against Staffy, he can't make it, he hasn't won a big playoff game, he's not in the Super Bowl. Now he's there and you tell me, Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl, so it doesn't mean shit. Wait a second. That's what we were saying the last 12 years, you fucking numbskulls. But now that Matthew Stafford's in the Super Bowl, oh, Jared Goff's been there. Oh, so it's not even a big deal. Going to the Super Bowl, nobody cares anymore. Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl? That's not even cool. Oh, because that's all you fucking cared about when Stafford hadn't yet been to a Super Bowl. So which one is it? I'm going to root for the guy. As much as I love Joe Burrow, I hope he shows up in a mink coat. I hope he's wearing like translucent fucking $1 billion driving shoes. I hope he's wearing 50 pairs of sunglasses. I hope he has enough mousse in his hair to choke me to death. I hope the guy looks incredible. I hope his neck is sore. I hope he can't even look downfield during the game because he's so sore from all the weight he was carrying in diamond chains. I hope he balls out. I hope he has a great day. I love Joe Burrow. I'm sad that I have to root against them. It really is. This Super Bowl, these QBs, it's like rooting against your 2 favorite kids. If both of those QBs and both of those kids' mantras were slinging balls and slaying poon. That's what it is. Joe Burrow parties. Joe Burrow's the fucking man. Matthew Stafford's grinding on boats in the middle of Torch Lake. I got to root for one of them. I'm going to root for the guy that's been there half my life. I'm going to root for the guy that showed up for the Detroit Lions when for 12 fucking years, the Detroit Lions didn't show up once for him. I'm going to root for the guy who all along, he knew he was elite. I knew he was elite. Plenty of you knew he was elite, but he never came out and said, you know what? You want to know why I haven't won a playoff game in Detroit? Well, the coaching stinks. The management's worse. The ownership's the worst. I don't have a defense, don't have an offensive line, don't have a run game. So that's why I haven't won. A guy who could have done that for 12 straight years but said, no, you know what? I'll shut my mouth. I'll just build a football field in the city. I'll come into work. I'll come in with a broken thumb. I'll come in with a fucked up hip. I'll do whatever you need. I'll come in because it's Sunday and I'm the QB of the Lions and I'll play football, keep my mouth shut, be a good soldier, be a good leader. And people had the fucking balls to say he was the problem. Well, guess what? Turns out that franchise that hasn't done anything ever, turns out they were the problem. Turns out 12 years in Detroit, Matthew Stafford couldn't win a playoff game. Goes to Los Angeles 1 year. He's in the Super Bowl. But people want to tell me how Matthew Stafford's not that great. People want to tell me that, oh, wait a second, he's not that great because he couldn't do it for 12 years in Detroit. Well, is it Matthew Stafford's fault, or is it the worst franchise in the history of North American sports' fault? Right? Are you angry at Matt Stafford? Do you dislike Matt Stafford? Do you root against Matthew Stafford because he didn't win in Detroit? Or are you just angry that the Lions failed him for 12 years and you're so fucking stupid you're misguiding your anger? And I don't mean to be rude, but you are. And you should acknowledge it and you should admit you were wrong and it'll all be forgiven. I won't call you stupid. We'll share a beer, we'll share a hot cocoa, and we'll watch Matthew Stafford lift the nut Lombardi about 2 weeks from now. Love Joe Burrow, love the Bengals, Jamar Chase, Burrow to Chase, Joe Shiesty, Joe Brr. Give me Matthew Stafford because nobody deserves it more.